Hello, this is Lisa Lee, and welcome to this week's week ahead reading. I'm looking at the weekly energies, and one of the first things I felt when I tapped in was, it was like I was feeling this cloud. There was literally a cloud in the room that I'm sitting in, and I was in this prayer meditation sort of space, and I was in a cloudy room. And as I was praying about, I was thinking about the SNAP benefits. I was thinking about the judge and the intervention. I was thinking about a lot of the stuff that's going on in the US right now that is, you just look at the political, the economic, the everything landscape. And so as I was sort of just letting my mind kind of work through those images and some of the visions that were associated with them, I said to the divine, and I said to the energies that I was working with and the ancestors that I was working with, I said, people just want to feel secure. People just want to be secure. Everyone just wants to have that sense of safety and have that sense of security. And as I was praying that, kind of like, it was just sort of like a ramble that came through me where I was just like, you know what? And the sun came up. And so I think that there's something to be said for the sun coming up on some of these fears that everyone's having collectively, because the world that we live in is showing us a picture of complete and total instability and not a particularly trustworthy, I was going to say like person at the helm, but it's like not trustworthy systems at the helm. But with the flame, the self, and the lover, bottom of deck energy, we have the mirror and Chronos. And the song, got the eye, it's the eye of the tiger or something. I'm gonna find it and put a link. Maybe I'll do a playlist for this reading. What is that song? It's the eye of a tiger. There's something about you being, and the mirror here, like the eye, wow, what is that? Like the tiger's looking at you, but what does that even mean? I'm seeing a tiger. So just as as I was feeling these two, the mirror, it spoke to like a lost part of yourself or an aspect of self, or seeing yourself in a new way, or like, especially with the eye there, like what are you going to see about yourself? Like what is there about you? What is there that you are not seeing? And then the song came through, like, and I don't know the song, so it's something from it is something from a long time ago, like maybe the 80s. I got the and then I just hear I have a tiger, so I just have like the one line, patience and delight. So this is something good, something to discover, because with the flame, the self, and the lover here, yeah, there's something to discover, there's something to rediscover. I would almost say for some of you, the flame is about to be lit. Yeah, the light came through, like I was waiting for something. And so there's something here about the flame, the self, and the lover. The light is about to be lit. The illumination is coming through. And with the self being, like the pearl here says, like, this is, who you are has been developed over the course of a lot of adversity. And we're seeing the shell of the clam. And like the way that a pearl is developed is it's a piece of sand, and it agitates the clam, and the clam spits on it until it becomes a pearl. And so there's this interaction here, because I'm seeing this pearl with the lover and this pearl with you, like you become the pearl. And it's a lot of adversity here with all of this fracturing. The fracturing tells me, like, for each fracture is a person who stood up and got knocked down again. And I'm hearing, like, I got knocked down and I stood up again. So, like, this is you. And I want to say falling in love, but weird though, like, because the flame, like, there's a, like, the flame is lit, and be open to this. I can hear people being like, no, 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 no. Whatever the flame is being lit about, it's passionate. It's like a passionate situation. And with solitude and purity, let's investigate before we judge like that as, you know, a yay or a nay. Because with the self here, this pearl that is developed, and the lover is actually being about appreciation from another, or being appreciated by another. It doesn't always mean that, but I'm seeing that here. And so with fulfillment and the solitude, we have something about like a fulfillment in the solitude in the form of love. And it's simplistic. Like, you don't have to get, the fulfillment is something simplistic. There's abundance in it. So let's start off with like a really tall promise for the cards to fill out the story on. Week ahead is getting this much action. That seems kind of amazing to me. What has its eye on you? Because this is, you know, this seems like it's possible that something is like landing, or like a seed is rooting. The feeling that I'm getting from this, because the flame, like I keep on being drawn into the darkness around that flame, and I keep on seeing the fracturing around the self, and I see that the pearl and the pearl, this is like a bridge, or this is a recognition mirror, like seeing this recognition. Somebody sees themselves in you. There's a recognition. And there's something simple about it. But okay, new beginnings. See how new beginnings just popped itself out right here? No, you can't see. Oh, you can. Yes, you can. Okay. So let's get the story on this. Let's get the cards that can help explain some of the particulars. I want to see who this... There's an energy that is like powerful and powerfully with you. And they have their eye on you. They see something in you. The moon card speaks of sentience to me. It's like the inner cosmos, that moon card. And so what is being drawn in, or what you're drawing in, or what you have drawn in, it's a type of attention. And I want to take a look at what that is. And the cards are really sticking, and which is an interest. Like whenever the cards stick like that for me, there's something dense about the quality of the transmission. But I like that White Newman card. Ooh. I like it. Doesn't get better than that. All right. Judgment and the Ace of Swords. I'm feeling so much better right now with this energy. So there's like lighten up is like a kind of a thing that's coming through, or like a lightening. And just even like the interplay that I've had with light so far, sitting down to this reading, there is a lightening up, a lightening like. And so with this Judgment card, Judgment is like it's always a variation of, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Something is decided externally to you that you have to live with it, whether you want to live with it or not. Judgment Day, like you're dealing with it. So it doesn't always end up being external, but it's like it's a pivot. It's a moment you can't, like, you step through that threshold and then you're in the new room, and there's no negotiating with it necessarily. And so there's, with the Ace of Swords, it's like a very strong truth that, and I feel the phrase like sets you free, because this whole spread is like something lightens up. There's a load off. Look at the feather. Simplicity. This love comes in and it's like a lightening of the load. And so, and what is peeking out? The World card. Yeah, like whole new chapter. And it's been taking forever. I think part of with this flame, there's like a darkness around this flame, which is like just how long this journey has been. Because I see the dark color here, it's sort of highlighting the kind of shadow over here, and the shadow with abundance and the new beginnings peeking out. And I almost feel like there's a hard truth here in relationship to the long suffering with that Knight of Pentacles, that is coming in to inform this new chapter that you're stepping into this new chapter, like in relationship to and as a result of this judgment call. Now, whatever this judgment call is, I don't want you to be afraid of kind of like the predestination of something. When we kind of argue about predestination, you know, like that, it's not like, is it there or is it not there? It's there sometimes. And a good example of predestination makes itself known as like a known and a fact as is that it is. Predestination comes in around like things that you cannot control, no matter what you do. There's nothing that you could have done about that car accident because it like someone just drove into you. Like nothing you could have done. Nothing you could have done about the place that you were born. You were predestined to be born where you were born. Why? Because you were born there. And there was nothing about like your agency that made it so. And so when we have things in our life that we have to deal with, the hurricane comes, right? And it washes the house away. And there's nothing you could have done. So like when we deal with nature and like the fact of nature, and when we are dealing with like life on life's terms, and we're taking life on life's terms, that's going to be, it was predestined. And when you have anything that is predestination beyond your control, there's no sense in arguing with it, and it's absolutely not punishment. It's part of the story that you are predestined to encounter, and all the gods associated with that story and the archetypes associated with that story are relationships that you are meant to have in this lifetime. And what you do to maximize them has to do with like how you profess or work with your faith. But with the Judgment card here, being about like, something like this is an external influence in the way of predestination, because that's what I'm feeling very strongly, that is happening for you, and it's opening up that third eye. Because I see this third eye and this eye, and there's like a storm, because I felt like lightning, light, and this energy here. Do you see how her blue eye and that eye, and there's a match up there, and can you there's like an intensity in which like this eye through this eye. So there's a partnership coming in at the level of some kind of a storm that is actually on its way out. It's like a storm that is over. This is seeing yourself differently and almost being differently in the mirror. So there's a partnership at the level of like, we all have like a divine genius or a divine inspirer that like works with us. That is part of the, there's always the architect of the archetypes at play. And so when you, are thinking about what's going on with the week ahead, it's kind of big in terms of recognition, and it's either a recognition within or a recognition from somebody else, but it's it's predestined and a long time coming. And while we're not like, I still see this as like composting planted, because even the self here, we have shadow, and the presence of shadow for me, when I see like a very rich shadow, that's always going to be like a compost. Is the table shaking when I'm leaning on it? Yeah. That's always going to be like this composting. It means like the seed is in there. And to the degree of time that we are like in separation from like the flowering, like I kind of see that like this judgment, this kind of sight that sees this like, I'm going to get some, well, there's cards right here about what it is. Like I almost feel an apprehension or a fear, which is funny. So I don't know what that's about. Because with the Two of Wands being about like plan for it, you're not seeing this coming, but it's going to instigate a new beginning that's going to lighten things up a whole lot and allow for this love to begin to bloom for you. Like there's nothing bad about that. So why am I feeling an apprehension? Because this is Eight of Wands. It's giving me anxiety. Whatever this Eight of Wands is, it's giving me anxiety. So let's look at that. Because we have Four of Swords, which is about rest and after a battle, you're recuperating. And we have this Nine of Pentacles, which is basically, this is wealth at the individual, it's the wealth that an individual holds and the wealth that an individual has acquired, or compensation there. Because there's been a lot of talk of compensation with like every time I kind of dip into I do a lot of deity worship, because that's what I do. And when I'm working with the gods, like there's a lot on compensation right now, which is it's a funny thing. And so there's something here about the Nine of Pentacles being your compensation for whatever this period of the Four of Swords, healing, recuperation, rest was. Coming in quickly. It's giving me anxiety. Why? Let's get some cards and find out. I hope you're all doing well. Last week was a doozy. I kind of felt like it was. Let's push this back a little bit. Eight of Wands is giving me, it's giving me anxiety. Why? Giving me anxiety. Why are you giving me anxiety? Compassion for your solar plexus. Fear. But why? About compassion. Emerging from that place of being unseen for the most part. All right, let's get in here. The Two of Cups and the Star card. That's that. I keep on feeling recognition. Who's recognizing you? Well, okay, one question at a time. Why am I having anxiety? Okay. Coherence and magic. Passion. Flame. And the Divine Masculine. Ooh. I'm staring at this because, so, I mean, the Lover, Divine Masculine, Passion, the Flame, and I'm hearing, da-na-na-na, I got a crush on you. These songs are so faint for me. Like, there's something here about, like, it's like an echo almost, like from like the past, like someone's trying to tune in on like a radio. I got a crush. Does anybody know that song? Is it even, I got a crush on you? Two of Cups and the Star card. The way that, so you've got recognition here. And from like this, it's kind of funny. The storm energy, coming out of the storm into creation energy, destruction and creation energy. You're moving into building and creation energy. This energy wants to create with you. You are ready to create with this energy. Now, this is a story. Okay, so archetypes are stories. This is a story that wants to co-create with you. This is a story that wants to like build into the architecture of your life. When we start to work with the gods, we're inviting in the stories associated with what it means for them to teach us. They co-author and they co-create with us. And that's not like a light, fluffy thing, but you're moving into the light, fluffy part. And this energy is showing up with the blue here as this divine masculine energy. Now, how is this divine masculine energy going to make itself known to you? Energetically and or materially, and sometimes both. Usually there's a crossover. Usually when there's something happening like in the spirit realm, there is a mirror for the material realm. And so there's something about the divine masculine energy here with the storm being over, and I see like the storm is over, like the hurricane is over, and we come out of the storm, like, and again, even when I sat down, it was like really cloudy, and then the light came. It's like after a storm. And so after the storm, the dust has settled. And so this divine masculine energy that, again, it's going to be either made manifest in the way that you are attending to your life. So you have agency and ambition, and like you're checking things off the list, and you're checking it twice, and you're, you know, whatever it is, that's this divine masculine energy. We can go into like the levels and everything that's there, but it's an aspect of yourself. And so either that's going to be like taking a very strong role, and you're going to be channeling and working with that heavily and bringing that into your life heavily, or we're talking about the entry of like a person or like a counterbalance that is that divine masculine to your divine feminine like influence. And so we do see with the Two of Cups, and the Lover card, there's a balance coming in here, and it's a balance of energies that's going to make itself manifest in this week, actually, as like an entry. Like this is a combination of energies, or this is a way in which you're going to be managing internally, and it's going to filter its way or channel its way out. But you're going to have an experience with this balance here, but like I have so much fun to come through so fast. Like it's funny, I get like a little jumpy with the channeling sometimes. But with the Two of Cups and the Star here, like your recognition, because I'm seeing this energy as recognition, and so it's the gods recognize, the story recognizes, like the initiation of, the seed planted for, the energies colliding. Like this recognition is like at the level of the Star, and so the Star is always going to speak of. I hate the idea of fame, and I don't like I don't like talking about it like it's a good thing, because I think it's a pretty bad thing. But in terms of like your prosperity and your platform and how people see you and what it is to have a public persona, whether it is in the workplace or it is, you know, in some form of art or expression, or, you know, even like prominence in community, the Star card speaks to an elevated position. So a position where you are elevated means you are usually like in a leadership sort of role, or in the role of one who inspires, or like, so that Star card is, you don't get there by any other way than healing. You get there by the way of your own wisdom, by the way of your healing, and that's positioning you in the sky. And so what I'm seeing here for you, and again, like this energy here that I see like sees you from that primordial place. It's an ancient energy that is like locked in on like what it means to engage with you. And it does feel cosmic, I'll be honest. Star, it might even be a relationship or an entanglement that is eternal, that initiates now, but becomes like forever for you in one way or another. There's something here starting. But the Star card is like your placement in relationship to the powers of the solar system, your placement in relationship to the cosmos, the way that you engage with creativity and the destruction and creation process, like the destroyer comes in and like, you know, takes an opportunity, and then you have to create into a new space, like, or takes a relationship and you have to create your way out. Like when you have a relationship with those cycles and all the energies therein, and you become competent in conversation and co-creation with them, you establish yourself like at the level of soul, and then you are placed by those energies that are like the nature, and that's the infinite nature. And so I see like that's big and like highfalutin, you know what I mean? But for you, like whatever this relating is, and at the ground floor it is a relating, and at the ground floor in the material realm we do see this mirror effect, where what's happening in the sky, what's happening at the cosmic level, this recognition will play itself out in one way or another. And it is like this interplay between you are showing up in the divine feminine, you know, like this is the divine masculine energy that is here, like in your reading very powerfully as this new life that is working with you, like in magic and coherence and this judgment. Again, I see it kind of like a seed. So we're like in this planting sort of place with this abundance and this new beginning. But I see that like you're coming in for me at the level of divine feminine, which is going to be like that receptive, like preservation, nurturing, creating, and creating is like active. It's growth. And I feel it's active for you. But love here blooming, and the simplicity, the lighten up. Like, why does this make me anxious with the Eight of Wands? It's going to happen quickly. This is going to happen quickly. It's a lot of information going back and forth, and you're probably going to be like tasked to take charge or begin to think about what it would mean to take charge. There's nothing sloppy about the way that this passion hits with the flame here. The flame is going to like, I'm going to see that. I definitely feel it. But with the magic here and the coherence, you're going to be able to like harmonize with this at the level of your heart, mind. To create the reality that you want to desire, that you want to desire, not just that you do desire, because I don't know you desire yet, because the way that channeled through was that you want to desire. But there is magic here, and you're probably already feeling like a percolating of your magic. You might be feeling the presence of Hecate. You might be like feeling that call to magic, that call to spell work, and you're invited to enter into that. Or invited to, enter into that. Like you're invited to begin to engage with that, because it's part of taking control and having some agency. But this new life that is coming towards you, and it's a new life. It's a white Newman, brand new life. It's heading here quickly. So this week sort of, let's get a little bit of a play-by-play. Prepare for something that you don't see coming, that is going to initiate a new life, that is going to bring in a lightness that will allow for this blooming of love. A celestial energy has looked at you and decided they want to create a story with you, one that involves recognition at heights, at leadership, at a position. Engaging with this it's going to be like, you're gonna love it. But again, there's just a plant of a seed here. So there's magic that is this almost looks like I'm getting like a zygote fertility, like this coherence right here is like the sperm and the egg come together, new life, the magic therein, the impulse of soul therein, like it's quickening. There's a quickening. So this week we see this quickening. That's what I'm feeling with this 8 of Wands. And so there's a lot of energy around what that means, but it has to do with your compensation cosmically. And I know that sounds kind of like a little bit out there, but with passion here in the divine masculine, there's this is romantic. This is a romantic beginning. It feels romantic to me. And that passion there is intense. Like, I'm not gonna lie, there's something here that the story seems to have started a long time ago, and now it's coming into a position, like I see like the aperture, like it's coming into focus. So a story that was foggy, that you really couldn't see your way with, the Judgment here, the World, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is this hard, feels like a hard truth. The Knight of Pentacles, let's get a little bit about this hard truth. Because there's still this darkness around the self and the flame and fulfillment and the abundance. And I want to get a closer look at that. I'm hearing, can I see that? Like the music is so like fuzzy. Can it be? Like I'm not even going to be able to do it. It's like, can you see me? Darling, can you see me? Or something like that. Have you seen her? It's like a searching kind of a vibe. Tell me, have you seen her? Something you've been looking for. Cancer. Love. And yeah, this is seeking. I felt that. I felt the seeking, right? Because this is the ninth house of seeking. Like something. It's not here yet. There's still some part of this that is like seeking you out. You are coming in at the level of a mystic here. Pisces at the bottom of the deck. There's this like mystical thing here. So this is why I'm picking up on you, and very much that divine feminine. There's a readiness. Venus is love. So we've got love, we've got the lover, we've got the flame, we've got fulfillment, abundance, and new beginnings. We've got love over here. Somebody who is a mathematician, or feel free to ask, you know, the internet. Each card deck has like 52 to 72 cards, I think that's the numbers. And if you were to see like what the probability of getting love, the lover, love out of 3 different decks, passion, you know, this is spelling out something very clear. There's a simplicity in what this God guide story wants to offer you. I think there's, with the 9 of Pentacles, like at the sense that there has been, you have been seeking home with the Cancer, the doula. You've been seeking a home to safely birth your creations for a long time. I have to get some water. Yeah. The Pisces at the bottom of the deck, there's like this dreaming, escapist and practical, like no grounding. But I'm seeing this grounding happen here with the Judgment, the World, the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles, I think that the hard truth has to do with like whatever the peace that is coming in for you. And there's some level of peace with the simplicity. Like there's a lightness of being. Like what the 2 of Wands, what you're preparing for, and the thing that you cannot see, and the new life that is arising. It's remarkably easy to digest. It's remarkably simple. Like what you need to know about this is it's not hard. It lightens things up. You've been seeking this for a long time. And it's going to provide for that grounding that will allow you to reach new horizons. I think this is just a completely new version of yourself. And so like that's what's being expansion. Yeah, you're going to get there. You're going to get there, and this week sort of starts this process energetically. Are you there all the way? No. Because you wouldn't be. I mean, unless you have like, I don't know why. It feels like this is like, you're meant to kind of prepare with the Two of Wands, you know, to hope. Like this is like almost like a faith. Like, all right, I'm going to just look at this. The healing. Sagittarius, healing, and complexity here. And the 9th house is also this like Sagittarius energy. So the funny thing about this, and what's kind of complicated or a little bit complex, especially with Jupiter, this does entail some sort of travel or a departure from what you're used to. And so my sense is that you have been doing things a certain kind of way. And that's why this is a significant reading in terms of the week ahead and what you should sort of pay attention to a little bit. Like, yes, with the retrogrades and there's a lot of intense energy, like there is stuff to let go of. And when I think about stuff that you need to let go of, I always think about that in terms of like, well, what's being created here? And so the complexity, what your guides are bringing in as a way of saying, hey, you know, like what's complicated about this? Because I was like, why is the Ace of Swords difficult? It's like the hard truth here is, the complexity is, what makes this a little bit challenging is, and I don't want you to feel too challenged because this mystifies, like there's something mystifying about how easy, right? But anyway, this is a departure from the way that you usually do things. It's a departure from like a way that you usually express, I even feel. It's more rooted, it makes more sense, it's more, you're going to be able to work with it at a level that's more practical because there's something birthing through you in this departure. And so whatever this departure from like what was to what is new, there's something being born here and you're going to love it. You're going to love it. And so even though there might be a slow start, and I kind of want to caution you because that's where, like, what's the complexity? It's a departure from what you're doing normally. What's the slow start here? Well, the hard truth here says like there's a slow start, but the change, the World card and the judgment that change is like what we're doing. Even if you can't see what it's bringing, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. And so, you know, there is a little bit of a challenge in this week where, you know, at a certain point and there's like, wait a minute, you pause, you know, there's effort here with, there's effort here with communication and the 8 of Wands. You're going from healing to a 9 of Pentacles, you know, and there's something about all the communication that has gone back and forth that fear, like it gave me anxiety, right? But what our guides are basically saying is you might have a pinch of that in the middle of the week. You know, you might have a pinch of that as we like move into where we're going. And I mean like pinch, I'm not feeling anything that like, I'm surprised it's even registering, except that it is. So it's a little bit of something, but this is not something that is going to stand a chance against, you know, against this like romance that's coming in with this whole other thing. You are magnetizing something towards you that is like romantic, it's charming, it's like luxury and wealth. Like, I love it. It's value, it's pleasure, it's being adored in the right way. But the healing says like, you know, you're going to heal quickly. You know, like there's something here about the hard truth, and then you're going to heal pretty quickly, by recognizing this, like there's just a moment of complexity. And then you're going to recognize, oh wait, but there's a departure here from what I was doing into something else. And this is better. This is where I'm going to properly birth things. So that's what we're looking at with the week ahead. We have plenty of time. I usually like to let these go for like an hour. I'm just going to see if there's like a couple other messages that want to come through. Because even though that's very straightforward, like you're taking action, there's a lot of passion behind what you're doing. Something is happening energetically and bringing recognition. But it's a departure. It definitely is. But it's a seed that is planted. And so, like, again, let's see what else our guides want to bring in the way of context, so that we can prepare a little bit. Sorry, I was taking a drink of water. Sometimes sometimes I'm messy. I think, let's get this deck. We're gonna get some general advice about how to be like open, prepared. The Mystic and Expansion, I love it. Two of Cups and the Star, I love it. Simplicity, couldn't love it more. Two of Wands, Four of Cups, you know, like there's a tension point there. Tension points are our guides. That Ace of Swords, Knight of Pentacles, there's a tension, but this is beautiful. Like whatever that tension is, it's perfect for what is like whatever the departure is. You want the departure. You want this departure. It's almost like you've been asking for it. You want the departure, you're going to take the departure, you're going to enjoy the departure, right? So it's a nice week. Let's see. Fulfillment, abundance, and new beginnings. So this week, it's the seed is planted for the fulfillment, the abundance, for your new beginning. And when I say the seed is planted, I mean like a flame is ignited. There's a passionate flame here. And either like something comes in and inspires and conspires to work with you, be with you. And that might even just be an energetic thing at first. All right, can we have some particulars to guide us? That came out real weird sounding. Let's take a look. Guide us. Grow up. Yeah. And just do what makes you happy. Okay. Here's the quick map. Bottom of the deck energy is don't ever chase. I like these little blurbs. They're a little bit mean, but they're fast and easy to read. Don't ever chase. That's the fastest way to run out of breath. Not everyone wants or should be stuck to you like a fridge magnet. So instead of worrying about attracting everything and everyone, focus on being true to yourself and let the right people and energy be drawn to you naturally. You will only find yourself chasing what's not meant for you because the things that truly align with who you are won't run, and you won't have to exhaust yourself to keep them around. This is the bottom of the deck energy in terms of your advice. There might be some trial and error this week. There might be a pinch point around having a departure from the way that you normally do things. But don't let anything that discourages, like don't let that like if you're doing something in a certain way and it's not working, don't be discouraged by it. That's not meant to work. Open yourself up to the inspiration that is like looking at you here in terms of doing something, a departure from the way that you normally do things, a departure from the way that you normally interact, a departure from the way that you normally work. It doesn't have to be so high stakes. It just can be like a departure from the way that you operate in one avenue or another, or even overall. But it's a departure. And so if it's not working, if you find yourself in a rut or you find yourself repeating an old habit and it doesn't work, that's okay. We're not gonna chase the old way. We're gonna reinvent. And so that's gonna be this moment of grow up, because this pay your bills, make a budget, have some discipline, make some goals, follow through with it. Have a life plan doesn't make you boring, it makes you a savage. Ain't nothing easy about realizing that you're the one who's been holding yourself back. Your lack of planning and discipline is the answer to all those why not me questions you've been asking. You've got to do this for you. So that's the hard truth. Felt that. I was like, why is this giving me anxiety? Because the healing is over and it is time to get busy and start to build into what you are poised to receive, and you're gonna love it. But the healing here is like, again, like, that growth. There's a growth, growing pains are always about, I've got to do things differently. I've got to take a different approach. I've got to grow up about this in one way or another. I've got to take an active agency, divine masculine energy, and like move into this like new venture or this new relationship or this new way of being. I've got to do this. I've actually, don't chase says like, if it's not working, don't push for it. But when you go to redirect, you're not doing it from a powerless place. You're doing it from a place of like that fire is getting lit. That passion is coming online. You need something to light that fire. Don't be frustrated if like the gods squeeze you a little bit in one way or another in order to get you to like agitate you out of whatever that complacency is. Because a new beginning says it's not the same as was, which means that you're agitated in a new direction, Pearl. Something is being formed here. Just do what makes you happy. Don't let whack people mess with you. It's time to start worrying a lot less and stop letting thieves of joy take your light. You only live once, so make it a wild, insane ride filled with laughter, memories, and unforgettable moments. Do you know what the trap of being psychic is? If you're intuitive, if you've been intuitive, if you've been working on this, like the trap of being psychic is you enter when you're dealing with the unconscious like mind, when you're dealing with the underworld, which is going to be like your inner, that collective consciousness is like the material world and everything that is like in quotes reality. And then there's a collective unconscious, and there's a collective conscious, which is the reality that we make. There's a collective unconscious, which is the world of potential and everything that ever was and everything that inspires. And like basically it's dark matter as it informs like what the material world becomes. Like it's what is behind the shapes that create the shapes. Why is the apple the shape of an apple? Well, it's informed by something. It's patterns. Where do those patterns come by? It's the influence of like what came before. And so we have to understand that, when it comes to our magic, when it comes to our psychic abilities, we're going to enter where we are. And there's always a point in psychic abilities, and I just went through a version of this, where if you're in a defensive strategy, and if you're in defensive strategizing, and strategy is a lot of times going to be like, we have to have strategy about everything. We want to have fire, we want to have ambition, but strategy that is fearful is war. You know what I mean? And so if you're in a war mindset and a competitive mindset and you're defensive, like that's gonna I'm just trying to get this right, because it's like that's going to keep you from doing from having access to that easy inspiration. And so if you're psychic and you can pick up on all the ways that everybody is like disgusting and gross and terrible and no good, and look at what they're thinking and they're doing, that's like you're entering at the wrong place with what this gift is and what this gift is capable of, and you're tuning into airwaves that you don't need to be tuning into the airwave of somebody else's shadow because you're defensive. And I heard someone go like, but I think it's really important because defensive can be a very dangerous place to be. And there's no fault in it. There's a tremendous amount of compassion here coming from the guides. The guides are saying, here's the compassion. The compassion is, it's like the dog that was kicked too many times and they flinch and they're quick to anger and they bite because they've been conditioned to fear and they've been conditioned to pain and they've been conditioned to punishment that they didn't deserve. And so they walk around in life sort of scanning for threats. And when you're doing that, you're picking up on every possible threat. And that's taking all of your focus and all of your creative energy. And you're almost like quantumly entangled with the possibilities of threat. And I'm not saying that there's a victim blaming where you're bringing this stuff into your life, because you're not. But I'm going to caution you to put the sword down and to begin to trust the guides and to trust the gods, because there's predestination. So no matter what you do, you're not going to have control over the stories that you're meant to entangle with. And so trying to control the outcomes of every single thing and strategize at a certain point, that's going to eat at your creative capacity. And you're going to be only like tuning into those radio stations related to theft and threat. And it's going to like influence the way that you can or cannot create, because you're always kind of like, so that's what this card is about. Like you're going to be creating with the gods. You're positioned. You're going to have faith. That's going to, like the divine masculine aspect that's coming in, maybe in material form for some of you, in the form of a person and in a relationship, for some of you in the form of a job, for some of you in the form of a project, for some of you in the form of, there's so many ways in which this could come in and structure the way that you bring energy into a situation. But it's here with the passion and the lover. So I think other person, other thing, external thing. But you got to get your head out of defensive posturing. I don't care what you got to do. This is from your guides. It's not from me. I'm not talking to you. Like, this is your guides, very strong. I don't care what you have to do, but you got to get your head out of defending yourself. You're not defending yourself. You are covered. You are inspired. This is what a faith walk is, and this is what spirituality is. To be a spiritual person, to stand in the gap for those who like don't have a faculty of belief and aren't able to contend with or connect with the subtle energies and don't have like interdimensional access, like, is also to like be responsible about what you are connecting to and then bringing through and with you. And belief, again, it's a spiritual walk. That relationship, that partnership with the forces of inner and outer nature is one where you trust, you have faith. You're not in a relationship where you're bickering with, in defensive strategies with, not trusting the divine, and at the same time somehow caused to be representing the divine. That's something that like every mystic and psychic has to work through what it is to recognize that, like, that you are in charge of what you're picking up on, and that you hold the dial of the radio and the station, and that just because you can pick up on shadowy things doesn't mean that you want to use your gift that way. That can poison you. So turn the dial very intentionally, and don't tangle and entangle with energies that you don't want to be in conversation with, which means you're not ruminating and thinking about what you picked up on in the way of somebody else's shadow pointed at you in projection. Garbage, poopy, throw it out. Don't give that airspace. Don't allow that to entangle with you. Don't think about it. Reject it. Return to sender. Get rid of it. And instead, really monitor your thoughts. Don't let whack people mess with you. It's time to start worrying a lot less and stop letting thieves of joy take your light. You only live once, so make it a wild, insane ride filled with laughter, memories, and unforgettable moments. Just keep working with the gods. That's it. That your guides, that the powers that inspire you. With don't waste your money. Yeah. So this week I want you to be careful about spending. I don't want you to worry about that too much, but you're not there yet. I noticed that with the flame here, the self-fulfillment, abundance, and new beginnings. We have the fulfillment of all of the labor. The seeds are in the ground, but the seeds I see somebody planting bulbs in the ground, and so because I see the flowers here, and so it's like the bulbs are in, the seeds are in. There's something about that is significant. The seeds are in, but there's a little bit of time here between the seed being planted and what that fulfillment, what that bloom, what that abundance looks like. And so your guides want you to be really careful about two things. And when they say money, they're talking about energy and focus and attention. You only have a certain amount of hours in every day, and you'll certainly only have a certain amount of attention to put into creating into your life. There's dealing with the destroyer. We were looking at that in last week's reading, which is when things come into your life and destroy the things that you were hoping for, and then you have to deal with the aftermath of that. It's devastation, but at a certain point you realize that like what is created of the things that you didn't get to have is, first of all, you know now that you didn't want it, and also something beautiful came of it, like all the different ways in which these things happen. To create is to actively engage with. It's not, there's nothing about that is passive. And so, oh my gosh, it's like so disorienting. When it comes to don't waste your money, that's why. Don't waste your attention and don't waste your money. Don't waste your attention. Be very intentional. Be very intentional. Intentional. It's funny the way that doesn't want to channel through. Be very intentionable. That's not even a what? Intentionable. I don't know why that's weird, right? But like there's something to it. There's some clue to that. So be careful about your intentions. Be careful about how you spend the resources you have, be that talent, be that focus, be that attention, be that, and all of your energy. I want you to, so that's kind of where your guides are saying. With here it says, embrace the poo storms. When you're in a dark place, don't think you've been left buried 6 feet under from all of life's doo-doo. You're just germinating. Let it be known that you are a warrior seed. That's the seed. And you will grow through any poo that gets thrown on you or you find yourself buried under. Nobody likes poo, but it's fertilizer filled with nutrients, and that will make you grow. So that's the thing. Something's growing here. There's a little time between when you're planting it and when it starts to grow. But that doesn't mean you're going to spend that time really wisely. And you're not going to chase the wrong stuff. You're not going to let your attention go to the wrong places. You're going to be very mindful about that this week, because there's something cool coming in the way of recognition. So let's get 3 last cards, and then we will end this for the week. This is fun. I like this week. It's a very lighthearted, it's a week where things begin to lighten up for you. And I think that the confidence comes in around the way that you spend your effort a little bit differently. Yeah, look at that. Whenever I see that card, you and your loved ones are safe, I'm like, are you gaslighting me? I didn't know that they were maybe unsafe. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a funny little, but this is the time to take action, right? And so a personal issue reaches a resolution. I feel that here with this healing. You're ready to stand up from this healing and take action on the things that you love. And you will be successful in this. The complexity here is that you're going to have to do things a different way. It's a voyage from the way that you normally do things. That's going to take effort because you're going to realize that the way that you were doing things, there are adjustments that are required in this week. Adjustments are required. You're going to have to kind of like muster the strength. You're going to have to muster some muscle, muster some strength, cut off some bad habits. Either a bad habit is a person that's taking time or a bad habit is a thing that's taking time, but it's time to cut that off because it is time to take action. You got to put the seed in the ground. You got to start. You're being protected through this process. You're also being provided for through this process. And your guides want me to like point my finger actually and say, your guides are saying, we are providing you the time to create the abundance. Nothing is set in stone with the Four of Cups here being distraction. We are giving you the time to create this abundance. Whether or not you use the time we're giving you to create this abundance is up to you. But there is a personal issue that reaches a resolution this week related to your efforts, but that means you have to be making those efforts, right? And so that's where we're going to leave things. I almost said group 2 for some reason, which was a little bit weird. But that's where we're going to leave things. I hope you are doing well. I like this week ahead. Again, it's light. It's easy. This is an easy week. It has some great things happening. There's a really beautiful, powerful seed that's being planted here that is like magical in nature. And there's a lot about this new life that's coming in that will elevate you and will establish you. But the hard truth is that there's changes that are needed in order to make this happen. You're safe through the process of this transformation, whatever this, taking a departure from the way you were doing it, the way you will do things, it's covered. I'm hearing coverage, but you do have to take this action because the expansion is there. But have a busy week, but one that is full of peace. And so with that, I'm wishing the best, and I will see you again next week.